The company vets your psych profile a dozen times and only begrudgingly gives you command. That should have been my first sign to quit. But the pay for a 3-month milk run was too damned good. I'm a hauler, a glorified space trucker. We get the leftovers, the jobs no one else really wants. Orbital debris cleanup, long-haul bulk transport, and the occasional salvage run. That's the nice term for it. The real one you don't hear so often. Corpse recovery. 3 months out to salvage Phantom Station with just me and the ship's autopilot. The station vanished 2 weeks back. Not a distress beacon, not a blip on the radar. It just went dark, a speck of metal and men swallowed by the vastness. The company is more worried about bad press than the crew. Stations don't just disappear, and it casts a long shadow of doubt over their other installations. If some freak, unforeseeable accident took it down, they gotta know so they can start damage control. The autopilot grumbles its way out of FTL with a lurch that shakes the coffee in my gut. Phantom Station hangs ahead of us like a half-finished thought, a skeletal construct of girders and modules, perpetually stuck in that unfinished stage so common in deep space. No graceful symmetry, more a functional hodgepodge slapped together as needed. My scans are clear, no debris. She's in one piece, a coffin in the cosmic graveyard. I pull us into docking range and send out the probe. It's a little chirping drone I can pilot remotely. Always good to get a look inside first before committing. The probe's video feed pops live, and the station interior is a mess. I swear every other ship is the same. Looks like chaos reigned here before everything went black. Personal effects strewn about, data tablets, protein packs ripped open, even someone's boots haphazardly tossed aside. The drone bobs past an overturned chair near the main mess hall and... Is that red smeared across the floor? Blood. Whatever caused this was violent. Sudden. That should be enough to punch my resignation into the onboard console and go straight the hell home. But I can already taste that fat paycheck. And a hauler knows better than to spit in the face of good fortune. Besides, the company might still pay me for finding out what went wrong, even if there are no survivors. I grit my teeth, suit up, and climb into the airlock. The station's stale air rushes in the moment the airlock cycles, an oppressive mix of metals and a lurking odor I can't quite place. It prickles the back of my throat like acid. My helmet lights cut through the gloom as I step into the corridor. More signs of a hurried exit. A half-zipped utility bag lies splayed open, tools scattered like bones across the floor. It looks like someone was packing, or scrabbling. Hard to tell the difference in a panic. The mess hall looms ahead. That red smear's definitely blood, a dark trail leading inside like a morbid invitation. I steady my nerves, boots crunching the debris, and enter. It's worse than the probe implied. Furniture lies cracked and overturned, the remains of someone's final meal sprayed across the viewport. My light finds something amidst the wreckage, a hand severed clean at the wrist, fingers clenched into a fist. And that's when the whispers start. At first I think it's my suit's comms glitching, but it's not code, not static, it's my name. A whisper, weak and faint, threaded through the recycled air. Carter? I whip around, pulse pounding in my ears. Just the empty hall, the broken chairs and the hand mocking me on the floor. No one. Carter. Help. It hisses again, and my skin prickles. That voice. I know it, but my mind snags on the memory like a torn file. Who's there? I call out, voice tight. Show yourself. Silence. Then, laughter. A scratchy chuckle reverberating off the metallic walls. My stomach churns. Whoever this is, they're enjoying this. Fear and anger coil in my gut, a volatile mix. Damn it! I shout, striding deeper into the station. Come out and face me, you coward! The whispers intensify, names swirling around me like swarming insects. Some I recognize, crew from Phantom Station's manifest, others distorted and unfamiliar. It's a chorus now, calling me onward, pulling me deeper into the station's shadowed heart. They know I'm here for them, know I'm walking blindly into their trap. And like the damned fool I am, I keep going. The voices hound me onward. Sometimes the babble fades, only to return with a vicious clarity. "Traitor!" hisses a voice, then a child's panicked plea. "Carter, where are you?" I find myself jogging, my weapon drawn. The station's layout is a twisted maze of labs, living quarters, and maintenance shafts. I could be lost in here for days. Then it hits me. A sickening coppery smell underlying the steel odor of the station. It wasn't there before, sharp and invasive, like a butcher shop right after closing. Blood, fresh blood. The stench cuts a path through the whispering voices, leading me to a lab module. The door hisses open, and a wave of frigid air blasts me. The interior is a frozen tomb. Experimental tanks line the walls. Tanks meant for holding specimens, not people. And inside those tanks, bodies. Bodies submerged in the clear fluid, pale and contorted. Their eyes stare blankly out. Some mouths stretched wide in soundless screams. Frost coats their skin, their blood frozen black. "Holt," I breathe. Holt was the station's chief biologist, a squirrely little man with a nervous laugh. His body twists in that tank like a broken puppet. Rage explodes in my chest and I lash out, smashing a tank with the butt of my gun. The cryofluid splashes me, cold like fire on my skin. "You want me, bastards? Come get me!" I yell into the dead silence of the lab. A chuckle drifts out from the darkness between the frozen corpses. "Oh, Carter, but we already have..." I spin around to see a figure huddled in the shadows at the far end of the lab. It's gangly, way too tall. The figure steps into the light, and I gag. It's a man, of sorts. Naked, skin stretched obscenely thin over jutting bones. But it's the head, bald, swollen and crisscrossed with livid, pulsing veins. The mouth is too wide, the grin a ragged gash. "We waited so long," it rasps. And I realize with bone-deep horror, those voices, they're coming from this abomination. "So long for you." The abomination tilts its head, a bird-like motion sending a ripple of disgust through me. "Don't you recognize us, Carter? Your friends? Your crew?" Impossible. I recognize those misshapen limbs, that unnaturally lengthened torso. It's Wilkes, the station engineer. But those eyes, black, empty. The thing just wears Wilkes's skin like a stolen suit. "Liar," I snarl. Wilkes was a gentle soul, couldn't even stand the sight of blood. This creature, it revels in it. I raise my pulse rifle and fire. The blast sears through the air, but the thing just melts, its form dissolving into a writhing mass of shadow for a split second before solidifying again. It lets out a bubbling laugh. "Did you think it would be that easy, Carter? We are beyond such petty things as flesh and bone." The veins on its skull throb, and a wave of nausea nearly doubles me over. The floor beneath me shudders, and a low groan rises from within the station's bowels. My feet scramble for purchase as the lights sputter, casting everything in a green glow. The creature grins, revealing rows of needle-like teeth. "We change, Carter. We adapt. This station, it's part of us now." The shadows in the room seem to writhe and thicken, reaching for me with inky tendrils. The whispers swell into a cacophony that threatens to drown my sanity. One stands out from the rest, a voice hauntingly familiar. "Dad, help me!" My son. That's Ben's voice, but Ben's light years away, safe on Earth. Bile burns the back of my throat. This thing is toying with me, using my worst fears against me. I bellow in defiance, squeezing off shots at the shadowy tendrils. They dissipate under the gunfire, but more take their place, a wriggling tide of darkness. There's too much here. Whatever this is has consumed the whole damned station. I turn and run, my boots pounding a desperate rhythm on the metal floor. The whispering turns to triumphant shrieks, and the thrumming, the low groan from the station itself, intensifies. I need to get back to my ship, get the hell away from this twisted place. But as I round a corner, I slam into a wall of flesh. Not a wall, a body, a gargantuan body, glistening and slick, filling the corridor and blocking my only way out. More of those throbbing veins crisscross its pale skin. But this one, it has a face. A dozen faces, their features mashed together and moaning in despair. And amidst them I see Holt, the biologist, his eyes wide with terror. The stench of the thing's flesh washes over me, a putrid wave of decay, and something fouler, something that digs into my mind like a burrowing parasite. Each anguished moan from the amalgam of faces pierces my skull. No! The word is forced from my lips amidst a shuddering breath. I squeeze my eyes shut, but the image remains. Holt, his mouth stretched in a silent scream, his eyes pleading with me. Suddenly, the gargantuan body lurches, throwing me off my feet. The floor slams into my back, hard enough to send stars bursting in my vision. The monstrous thing looms above, quivering. The mass of faces bursts open, splitting like a rotten fruit. A dozen shadowed tendrils shoot out, far faster than something that size should move. I barely roll aside, their touch searing like acid against my suit's outer layer. I scramble back, pulse rifle forgotten on the floor, and slam into the wall behind me. My head throbs, my suit's warning alarms flash. No chance to reach the gun. The tendrils are writhing toward me again. Then a thought breaks through the fog of panic. My utility belt, the grenades. My fingers fumble for the clasp. The tendrils whip closer, the moan from the thing's multiple mouths reaching a fever pitch. I yank the grenade free, clench it in a trembling fist, and pull the pin. 3 seconds. That's the fuse time. 3 seconds till... Come on, you bastards! I hurl the grenade at the monstrous form. It skitters across the floor and detonates at the base of the hulking mass. The concussion slams me against the wall again. The world dissolves in a roar of fire and shrapnel. My ears ring. Smoke and a fine grey ash hang in the air. When my vision clears, a hole gapes where the creature's belly once was. The mass shudders, the tendrils retracting. It screams, the sound a discordant chorus of agony. My heart thunders in my chest. Did I do it? Did I... The thing begins to reform. The hole in its midsection knits closed, the flesh bubbling and writhing obscenely. No, I whisper, despair flooding me. It's barely wounded, it's going to regenerate. Then as I watch, the faces adorning the monstrous form seem to twist. Holt's face, once so full of terror, morphs into a hideous grin. We are infinite, Carter, the chorus of tortured voices rasp. You cannot destroy what has already consumed. The tendrils whip out again. This time, I'm ready. I dive to the side, dodging, but the air hisses with their passage. They're too fast, too many. My survival is measured in mere seconds now. One tendril whips around my leg, the touch burning through the suit like acid. I scream in pain, my vision swirling as the thing tugs me off my feet. It yanks me upwards, and for a moment I dangle upside down in the air, staring into the dozen faces that twist on its grotesque body. My boot scrabbles against my utility belt, fingers searching for another grenade. There's just one left. Do I have time? I try to thrash, to break free, but the tendril tightens, squeezing the air from my lungs. Spots of darkness bloom in my vision. Give in, Carter. The chorus of voices whispers, become one with us, become eternal. My hand grips the last grenade. This is it. I fumble for the pin, my vision blurring. I wrench my arm upward and slam the grenade into one of the creature's writhing faces. It howls in surprise, its grip momentarily loosening. I drop to the floor, gasping for air. 3 seconds. That's how long it takes. The thing screams, the faces warping in agony. It tries to shake the grenade loose, but it's too late. The explosion tears through the corridor, a blinding flash that consumes everything. The blast hurls me backwards. Pain lances through me as my body slams into the bulkhead. Then, darkness. I jolt awake, a ragged breath escaping me. My head pounds, the ringing in my ears distant and muffled. Groaning, I push myself upright, my vision swimming. Smoke and dust hang in the air, the corridor a scene of twisted metal and scorched debris. Of the monstrous thing, there's no sign, just a crater, a charred scar where it once stood. My suit chirps weakly, a litany of damage reports scrolling across my visor. Acid burns, structural breaches, internal system failures. It's a miracle the damn thing didn't kill me on the spot. I stumble forward toward the airlock. My legs feel like jelly, each step agony. There's no strength left for heroics. All I can manage now is survival. I have to get to the ship, cut my losses, and flee this damn station. As I limp past that blackened crater, something glints in the rubble. A scrap of metal, warped and pitted. I recognize it even in its deformed state. It's a buckle from Wilkes's overalls. The whispering voices are mercifully silent. Did I win? Did I finally drive that abomination back? Or is it merely biding its time, lurking somewhere in the station's twisted remains, regenerating, waiting to strike again? I collapse into the airlock, pain radiating through my body. The automated cycle grinds into motion, sealing me off from the ruined station. As the pressure equalizes, I sag against the cold metal, relief and the delayed shock of what I just endured crashing over me. The company will be furious. Hell, they might even try to pin the Phantom Station mess on me. Salvage runner with a half-destroyed suit, rambling about monsters and phantom voices. I'll be lucky to keep my hauler's license, let alone that fat bonus. My shaking hand reaches for my helmet release, and a wave of nausea nearly sends me to my knees again. The helmet comes off, and the smell hits me, subtle yet foul, like something rotten clinging to the air. I gag, my stomach lurching. It's that same stench I smelled on the station, the bloody coppery odor that led me into the frozen lab. My blood runs cold. Something's wrong. I pull myself into a sitting position and frantically scan the airlock. It's small, cramped, no room for anything to hide. But the smell intensifies with each breath. Wait, my suit. That's the source. The acid from the creature's tendrils must have eaten through more than just the outer layers. Something got in. I tear at the suit's seals, ripping away the contaminated outer layer. Beneath, on my undershirt, something glistens. A dark, slimy smear. Before I can even comprehend what I'm seeing, the slime moves. It bulges, stretches, then splits, revealing a glistening black eye. My scream comes out strangled, lodged in my throat by a horror that eclipses everything I witnessed on the station. My fingers dig into my chest, frantically seeking the squirming thing beneath my skin, needing to rip it out. Its form ripples, more eyes sprouting from its slimy surface, its tendrils slithering into the spaces between my fingers. The voices start again, not a distant chorus this time, but a corrosive whisper within my own skull. We are one, Carter. The airlock cycle completes, spilling me onto the deck of my ship. I thrash wildly, my body contorting under the thing's alien control. It's spreading, devouring me from the inside out. My ship's onboard AI blinks to life, its automated voice gratingly cheerful. Welcome back, Captain Carter. Course set for home, as per your standing instructions. Any additional orders? There is no Captain Carter anymore. There is only the writhing, growing thing that wears his skin. We are infinite, the voices hiss within my dissolving mind, and we are going home. Days turn into weeks. A derelict freighter drifts through the vast emptiness of space, its hull scarred and silent. Inside, the ship's AI dutifully maintains course and life support. On the bridge, a figure sits slumped in the captain's chair. Its skin is pale and stretched taut, its eyes vacant. But beneath the human facade, something else stirs. A consciousness alien and cold, hungering for a new world to consume. The freighter passes a frontier inspection post. The haggard crew member guarding the station eyes the automated distress beacon flashing on his console, but shrugs. Salvage runners with failing ships are common enough. He waves it through, barely glancing at the ship's automated identification. The infected freighter slips past, disappearing into the sprawling maze of shipping lanes. It continues its course, guided not by corrupted navigation systems, but by the ravenous will of the expanding entity within its hull. On Earth, in some nameless company boardroom, men in expensive suits pore over incident reports. The Phantom Station disaster is an isolated incident, an expensive write-off, nothing more. They debate, posture, and make vague promises about increased safety protocols, yet they remain blind to the true scope of the threat. Somewhere within that drifting freighter, a small part of Carter might still remain, buried beneath the mass of the infestation. If so, all he can do is watch in silent horror as his former vessel sets course to Earth. He can only witness as his homeworld transforms into a rich feeding ground for the insatiable thing nestled within his very being.